Good afternoon and welcome to the Taco Tuesday edition of The Rundown, where we promise to bring you 2A views and conservative news. I will be your host for today's program. My name is Mike Piwowarski, coming to you from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, but I don't do the program by myself.
No, sir, you do not. My name is Craig DeLuz. I am coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras in California. Bringing you news from behind enemy lines.
Yeah, it's kind of, is it getting blizzardy there on the behind the enemy lines? I heard you guys are getting some more of that cold weather coming through.
Oh yeah, no, it's a little nippy, but
Okay.
I mean, for California, cold is in the 40s.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Oh
what
yeah.
cold is for Florida.
Yeah. No, listen, we hit some in the panhandle. They had a little bit of snow within the past day or two.
Hmm.
I mean, it was just that sprinkly stuff that doesn't stick on the ground. It doesn't cause the National Guard to come out or anything like that. But listen, as far as 8 hours later, 8 hours driving distance away down south in Miami, they're like digging up palm trees and bringing them inside because they're panicking. So it's just
No,
it's just relax, folks. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. So
yeah, I mean, when it gets down into the 30s, that's about as cold as it usually gets here in Northern California. Now, so it has been known to get every great once in a while down into the 20s.
okay.
Very, very rarely, unless you're like up in like the Sierras or up in like at Tahoe. Usually 30s is about as cool as it gets.
Yeah, because I mean, you go up to the mountaintops, that's different ball game. That's
Right.
that's not the bottom layer. So yeah, it's a see right here. It's 60s in this morning here in Florida, and so
Hmm.
that was terrible for people. There was all kinds of jackets and shorts running around. It was
In the
craziness. Yeah.
60s.
Well, you'll see it. You'll see it. It happens. In fact, I saw my daughter came back for a second jacket today. I was like, you're wearing shorts. Why don't you put your leggings on or something, or some pants on? She's like, no, I just need a jacket. So okay, all right, do what you got to do. It's the Florida way. There's more jackets of hers at school than there are at home. So
Sometimes it be like that, sir. Sometimes it be like that.
exactly right. Exactly right. Oh well, I guess we should get into some of the news today. Let's see where are we going for? Oh, cloth masks, Craig. If you saw the most recent reports that have been coming out, and I know if we're going to be talking about COVID, we're probably just getting ready to get suspended, and that's COVID with the K is what I'm talking about, by the way. So in case you Facebook or YouTube or police are listening, Craig, guess what the mask does? Guess what the mask does to prevent Omicron?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Exactly right. Nothing. It does nothing to prevent it. Now, I'm waiting for Fauci to come out and let us know that we just need a second or third mask, and if we wear three masks, then it actually will work against the Omicron. But as you can see here, this is not it's not some whack job doctor out there that learned medicine in Grenada, something like that. We've got real medical professionals out there that are telling you right now, listen, the Omicron, the mask does nothing to protect you from it. And they further go to say that it's not even like you need to be protected from Omicron. What you need to do is be exposed to Omicron because it's so weak that you can actually get the tolerance, build up the immunities to it, and be good for the next 5 or 10 year cycle. It's and that's what it's coming down to. You're,
Well,
you're getting to the point where you're trying to restrict everyone from getting any germs whatsoever.
mhm.
You know, so the next time they cut themselves and don't put a band-aid on it, they're going to die from an infection. Because they'll have no immunities built up in the body whatsoever.
Well, Mike, that's what's funny is you're starting to see a lot of the mainstream media is pointing out and something that we have already said, and this may be the variant that gets us through this pandemic. In that it is mild enough that where, in particular, if you're vaccinated, this is what they're saying. In particular, if you're vaccinated, the symptoms, should you get it, and chances are you'll get it, are so mild that. But here's the thing that you'll it'll be like having a cold. You'll get through it, but then you'll have the natural immunity that will protect you against the Delta variant, which is also more contagious than the first strain, than the Alpha, but is much more severe. And this is something we've been talking about forever. It's like, look, we got to get to a point where we have some sort of immunity, herd, quote unquote, herd immunity. And this is how you get there, is through this variant. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and get it. I'm just saying that take care of yourself, boost your immunity system, do what you can so that if you do get it, you should be able to get through it no problem. But once again, they're saying masks are a little more than decoration, is what they're saying when it comes to Omicron.
Craig, I have a pretty good immune system, and the way I got to having a pretty good immune system, or at least a good head start on it, was I drank out of the hose. Right, I played in the dirt. We played sports that were outdoors. I could go a whole summer without wearing shoes. That kind of thing going on. So it was exposed to the elements and built natural immunities. Now I get it. There's some people that don't have strong immunities, and that's what you and your doctor decide the vaccination is for. But I'm sitting here at this point with millions and millions of Americans right now that did not receive a vaccination, and I am just as well protected against the Omicron as those that have been vaccinated. That's the other part of this story that's going on out there, is that it's back to normal, kind of, folks.
Right.
And that's what Craig was saying. That what you have now, whether it's from your vaccinations, if you are somebody that catches a cold and believes in getting those flu shots. I don't know why we call them vaccinations rather than just calling it the Omicron shot.
You're right. It's more of a, and I'm not trying to compare COVID to the flu, but it's more like a flu shot than it is a traditional vaccine.
Correct. So we're there. And like we both of us just said, we're at the point now where whether your exposure leads to a mild style cold or not, we are now back to the point where, okay, that the really, really, really deadly one, right, that evidently was going to kill us all, is now passed through, and we're getting back to the normal part. So stop fighting the normal part so we can get back to normal, so we can get back to, if I take a flu shot or not, it doesn't matter, because we've all have a certain level of immunities amongst us.
Well, exactly. Let's get back to what we should have done in the first place. Those who are at high risk, protect yourself from doing high risk things relating to COVID. And the rest of us should be able to make some informed decisions and live our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. The flip part of this, and I know we didn't highlight it as a story here, is there were multiple stories today that came out also about stop going and getting tested for, you morons. All right. If you're asymptomatic and the government, listen, I get it. If you're going to hop on a plane and you're going to, the Virgin Islands for the weekend and you got to have a test to go there, get your test. But if you're sitting at home watching the news and scared, stop driving to the site, stop driving to Walgreens, stop picking up the tests and getting the kit, just so you know. They found, Craig, that it's people don't go just tested once. You know who gets tested once? Somebody that's got to go, like the example I said, they're going for a long weekend in the Virgin Islands. They got to get a test. So they get the test. But on average, everybody else has been tested 10 and 20 times because they're obsessed with the news and the media and getting tested.
Do you know how many times I've been tested, Mike?
You've been tested, I would say, twice for travel.
Never.
Okay, there you go. See, I've never been
tested. I've literally only had to, when I got the vaccine, all I had to do was show proof of vaccination.
Right. Yeah.
And usually nowadays they require proof if you're going out of the country. And I haven't gone out of the country. So my wife got tested when she went out of the country. But I'm like, here's the thing, folks. If you're symptomatic, then maybe you should get tested to find out if you have it to protect your family and your loved one. But if you're asymptomatic, if you don't have any symptoms, stop walking around all paranoid thinking, oh my God, I sneezed, I got the Rona. Stop it.
And here's another thought, folks. If you do have symptoms, stay your butt home. What do you need to go get a test for? If all you're doing is fighting the normal cold and flu symptoms, take your NyQuil. Be done with it. Okay.
Well, and stay away. And by the way, just like you should normally do, even if it's just a call, stay away from other people. Don't go into work.
Right.
Don't go infect other people with your call. I remember back way before COVID. I remember we had a coworker who showed up at work with a cold, and I remember, and I so appreciated my boss because my boss was like, "Dude, Typhoid Mary, get out of my office. Yeah. I don't want my entire office. I don't want the entire the entire organization to be homesick because you decided to bring the bubonic plague up in here.
Yeah. I appreciate your dedication to work. Now go home and call into the meetings from there.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, most of dealing with COVID has been common sense. Hey, wash your hands. How about
Right.
not cough in you? How about cover your mouth when you cough and not cough into your hands? How about keeping some hand sanitizer around? I mean, these are all just kind
Right.
of some common sense things that would protect people if you just did them. If we all
See,
just did them.
it's like in my house. Listen, if the wife gets the Rona, she's sleeping on the couch. We got to quarantine. We got to self quarantine. She was weak enough to get it, so she's got to be the one on the couch, just for the record. So, yeah.
Because obviously she's not strong enough to be in the bed, so she got to go on the couch.
That's how we do it. The strong shall survive. That's how we do it in my house. While you're out there, wash some dishes too. Let's see.
But hey,
All
she's
right.
living her life, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
point is, we ought to be living our lives, kind of like our next story.
Yeah. AOC, she's living her life. I'm first off, I'm surprised, Craig, that she didn't go back there and start tending the bar, because that's evidently the really good thing she's good at. So I don't know those days, but yeah, she went down to Miami, right? She went down to Miami, and first off, she had the nerve enough to call out, say some things about Ron DeSantis from Florida, where she's hanging out at a bar with no mask on. So, well, Craig, I don't know. You tell me. I guess there's an invisible line where if you come to Florida, you don't have to wear a mask. You don't have to show a vaccination card. Oh, that's right. There is a line. It's called the state line, and the governor put it there, put the rules in effect for our state. So, because she's in New York and she does all of New York and DC, where I have to wear your mask, you have to be separated, you have to do this, you have to have your vaccination. She does all of that from what we understand, we see in New York and DC. But as soon as she comes to Florida, she's like, nope, I don't got to play by no Omicron rules down here, no virus rules down here. I'm going to do whatever I want. And I'm still going to be a hypocrite, though, and call people out on it.
Well, exactly. We're going to, once again, it's the rules for thee and not for me. Clearly, she is superior to the rest of us, and therefore, she doesn't really need to follow us because she's smarter than the rest of us. She is superior. She is part of the bourgeoisie. Therefore, she is above reproach. She is above getting sick. Omicron will not come near her because, well, she's all that and a bag of chips. The rest of us, the peasants and the proletariat, we are the, we're not smart enough. We're not intelligent enough. We're not part of the talented 10th that are above and beyond and know how to, live life in a way in which we can be safe. And that's her attitude. And the worst part is she doesn't even see the hypocrisy in it. Now, keep in mind, I come from a state where in the last year and a half, you've seen just about every major political figure on the left get caught. By the way, everybody who's pushing masks, mask mandates, and all of that, and shutdowns are at restaurants, are at bars, are at parties, are walking through airports maskless. I mean, we've seen Nancy Pelosi, we've seen Dianne Feinstein, we've seen Gavin Newsom, we've seen Maxine Waters. I mean, you name it. London Breed, the mayor of San Francisco. I have to keep saying London Breed because it sounds like a rapper's name. I keep thinking of MC Breed when I think of London Breed. But the point is, all of these people are all Californians. They're all high profile politicians who flat out ignored. I mean, who've told us we have to shut down. We have to close down our business. We have to shut down our restaurants. We cannot live our lives. We cannot go to our kids' graduations. Our kids can't go to prom or go to class. But they turn around and do exactly whatever the hell it is they want to do.
Well, you have to remember the AOC, she's part of the elite. If she gets, and that's what it is, she's part of the elite now. If she gets the Rona, all she has to do is go down to Walter Reed and get some special ivermectin and some the hydrochloroquine, because she's part of the super government elite now.
She is getting those because she might have malaria, not for Flovid. I'm trying not to get us kicked off of YouTube on another channel.
Craig, I've lost the sound again from you, so I am going to let you talk, and I'm going to recycle mine so you can continue the
Okay.
program, and I'll tune right back in.
Sounds like a plan, sir. Sounds like a plan. All right, so we're going to move on to our next story. Okay, well there you go. See, I don't know what's going on here because I'm like my sound is registering on this end. But that's okay. We got you back, Mikey. We got you back. Okay. So let's move on to our next story, Mike.
This DOJ, the DOJ now, Department of Justice, wants to once again. Here's the problem with the Department of Justice and ATF is that we have a set of laws in place, for safe firearm storage, and most of this came out under the amended Gun Control Act back in '86, where it says that manufacturers via dealers have to make available a gun lock for new firearm purchases, new handgun firearm purchases. Since that point, the Youth Handgun Safety Act has been out also that says any handgun that's sold through a dealer must have a gun lock provided with it. And so now what this is, I want you to follow along, is now we are telling the dealers that they must incur more costs in order to sell their product. So if they have an item that's a $300 gun, now you've got to put a $10, $30, whatever it is, gun lock in there if it happens to be a used handgun you took in on trade or you got from a consignment, whatever it happens to be. You must now incur more costs. We're going to tell you how to run your business. And because it's the government, we're not going to make up that loss that you have of cost that you have towards the sale of your product. So what we're doing is punishing the dealers and making them incur more costs and trying to drive them from business.
Well, I'm not understanding how what they're requiring here is different. Now, I know in California, every time you buy a gun, they make you buy a gun lock. And like I said, a $10 gun lock. And by the way, that cost is not borne, at least in California, it's generally borne by the individual who purchases the firearm, meaning you got to spend an extra $10 on top of the BS safety exam they make you take, right, on top of the background check.
Right.
I mean,
here's the problem when you buy a firearm accessory. All right, let's say
right.
I have a Glock, and I'm just saying Glock because it's the most popular and easiest example, right?
Right.
Well, now I have to sell a gun lock with that Glock, right?
Yeah.
Let's say it's a used Glock, okay? Because new gun locks, new Glocks come with gun locks from Glock, okay? All new firearms, new handguns must come with that lock.
Wait, when did Glock start doing that?
Oh, they've always done that. There's always been a gun lock in there. It's a cheesy little gun lock in there, but all new handguns have to have a gun lock in them. It's usually a trigger lock is what it is.
Okay, because when I bought my Glock 30 about 4 years ago,
right,
it didn't come with a lock. I'm gonna have to go back to the dealer and say, what happened, bruh? Where's my lock?
I bet you, Craig. I bet you if you go open your case up, the lock is in there.
You're probably
it's usually
right.
It's usually behind the foam, and people don't even notice it's there. All right. If you buy a new handgun,
I'm so embarrassed because you're probably right. I was so fixed on my gun, I probably didn't even pay attention.
Well, you know why? Because when you're not wearing your gun, you're putting your gun in the bigger safe, so you're not worried about the tiny little cheap gun lock, right? Mm-hmm. That's the issue. If the responsible people are responsible, irresponsible people are irresponsible, and those are the ones that you should go after. Why are we making it? Because we're going to make it the law now that the dealer must do this. I don't know. Why don't we have the law for the individual where if your firearm is used irresponsibly, then you're responsible for that? Huh? How about that? Now, if you allow your gun to be, you don't secure your firearm correctly, that's on you. That's on the individual, right?
Right.
But again, how do you make it a law? How do you tell somebody how to store their own items? It's about individual responsibility. Craig, this is getting rid of. Well, we got to get rid of 32-ounce sodas because it's going to rot people's teeth.
Well,
how about that's an individual's decision?
The thing is, Mike, this is almost always enforced after the fact. So, in other words, a tragedy happens, a tragedy occurs, and now we're going to go punish somebody because someone got access to their phone. It's like, look, folks, because they're not going home to house and checking people to make sure their guns are locked up. They're just not.
Designed to take money out of the pockets of
Right.
dealers and manufacturers. And the way this happens is, let's just say you buy a new handgun, right?
Right.
When you go to buy a holster, does everybody buy the identical same holster? No. They all want one that custom fit for what they do, for
Right.
whatever their lifestyle is or whoever they're going to carry the firearm. So it's the same way with gun locks. Some may want a cable lock. Some may want a trigger
Right.
lock. Some may want a safe. So what you're requiring the dealer to do is now carry 4, 5, 6 different options for each gun. So he is now going to be out. Yes. Does he pass that on to the purchaser? Absolutely.
Yes.
But if I don't have the options on the shelf, they're not coming for the gun in the first place.
Right. Exactly. Well, if they're an experienced gun owner, if they're an inexperienced gun owner, they're going to be very, very mad at you when they find out they have to pay for something else. One more thing in places like California, where they try to nickel and dime you to death. Not nickel and dime you. It's more like 20 and 50.
20 and 50 to death. Yeah.
I mean, I always tell people, like, whatever you're planning on doing in terms of purchasing a firearm, always know that the price of the gun is not the price you're going to pay, because there's fees, there's background check fees, there's stuff you're going to have to buy that you're going to be obligated to buy when you purchase your firearm. And so
we always say, and we joke around, and we say that the price of the gun is $500 plus tax, tag, and title.
Tax, tag, and title. There you go. I like that reference. That works. That works for me.
And we know that's not true, but you know what I'm saying. That's the background check. That's all the other fees. But everybody's familiar when you say a car costs $15,000 plus tax, tag, and title.
Exactly. And by the way, there are a lot of folks in Beverly Hills who are learning this.
Tell me about them.
Well, so here's what's going on in Beverly Hills. Now, first of all, it's important to look in Los Angeles, period. Well, California, in every major city across the country, we've seen a huge increase in crime, in smash and grabs. I mean, there were reports just within the last couple of weeks of 11 different robberies, smash and grabs totaling about $330,000. That have been taken from places just in Los Angeles alone. And so you have many of Los Angeles's elite have been flocking to the gun stores and purchasing firearms. In fact, there's one store in particular, and it's where is it? It's called Beverly Hills Guns, and it's only been open since 2020, right? And he's saying that he's seen upscale residents from Santa Monica, Hollywood Hills, and increase. Basically, what they're doing is they're flocking in there to buy guns. He was saying just the other day, he sold 11 shotguns, right? 11 shotguns. And but once again, just people coming in saying, hey, I'm worried. I don't know what's going on, yada, yada, yada. I need to buy a firearm for home protection. In fact, Mike, what's crazy about this is you had, and we talked about this, you had the head of the LAPD police union basically on a national interview put out a statement basically saying, hey, if you're thinking about coming to Los Angeles for holiday vacation, don't. We can't protect you. We don't have the resources because they've cut our budget. They've tied our hands in terms of law enforcement. Don't come here. And so people are still coming, but the people who live there, they're arming up. And by the way, if you live outside of the state of California, and even it doesn't matter where your concealed carry permit is from, we don't recognize anyone's concealed carry permit except those that are issued in the state of California.
Exactly right. Yeah, California is one of the only. It's one of those states where it's only their own, and that's it. And many times, if you're in Los Angeles County, they're not taking one from a different county as well. No.
From county to county, they cannot not accept a concealed carry permit, but it has to be a California permit.
Sure, they can't. Yeah.
What they do is they question the validity of it.
Correct. Yep.
But you can look up someone in California. You can look up someone's driver's license number, and you can see that they have a concealed carry permit. Although the interesting thing is, in order to get your concealed carry permit, you get what's called a criminal ID number.
Okay, that makes you sound comforting, right? Yeah, that's
That's
good.
I
Yeah.
mean it's the oddest thing, but yeah, with your concealed carry permit, the way they look it up is you go in your driver's license and identified on there is your
Right.
criminal ID number.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I guess listen, this is good news out of Beverly Hills. I guess the people that are going to buy firearms in Beverly Hills, they're also learning the ins and outs of what do you mean I got to wait 10 days? What do you mean I got to do all this paperwork? So it's not as easy as they thought it was. Probably walking into the store and asking for the loophole. Can I just get this through the loophole, please? So I'm sure that's fun and entertaining for the guys over at the Beverly Hills Police Department. I think Chief Taggart is still the chief there, if I recall correctly. He took over from Chief Bogomil a few years back.
Chief Bogomil.
Yeah, now it's Chief
He
Taggart.
retired a while ago.
He did. He got in a shooting, working a case with some guys in Detroit.
Some guy from Detroit.
So, yeah, that's it. All right, let's move right along. Let's move right along. Another Let's Go Brandon episode. Now we've talked to you. We've gone back and forth about this. In fact, I think the last two stories were that Brandon Brown, right? Brown's his last name. Were he couldn't find a sponsor. He was the one that was there when the young news reporter from NBC said, "I think they're yelling, 'Let's go, Brandon!' Right?" And it started the trend, back at Talladega 2-3 months ago now, and he couldn't get a sponsor. Well, he finally got himself a sponsor, and it's LGB Coin, which is
LGB Bitcoin.
a new type of what's that?
LGB Bitcoin.
LGB Bitcoin. So it's a new type of digital currency. They submitted the design on the car and in theory and in practice on the car to NASCAR. They got a response back from NASCAR saying it's approved. The only thing we would do is maybe change the size of the font on this one point here, like where it said .com, because at 170 miles an hour that might be a little hard to see. And so it was okay. It was approved. It could completely. And now NASCAR's like, what's LGB mean? Let's go, Brandon. Okay. Whoa. What we meant to say was it's not approved yet, and it's still in review. But we're not going to say that. We're going to say we didn't approve it because we didn't realize that we already sent you an email that says it's approved, and you just again proved us wrong for being the frickin' hypocrites that we are at NASCAR. I don't get how the biggest Southern sport, besides maybe tobacco chewing and cornholing, that NASCAR is not out there in front of this pro-conservative movement.
Mike, it's crazy. You look at this car, and I'm trying to actually pull it up here real quick so that people can see actually the thing that they did on it. Here, okay. Bam,
it says yeah.
So there's the actual promo right there, and I'm not gonna bother playing the sound. But you really look at it, and it's once you see the vehicle, you'll notice a couple of things. One, Let's Go Brandon is not exactly prominent on the car. It's mostly LGB Bitcoin, right? It's mostly the website address. But if you look on it, Let's Go Brand or LBG. I stand corrected. It is LGB Coin.
LGB Coin.
IO. That's the.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. So
I bet you see Let's Go Brandon anywhere on the car, really.
No. I bet you what happened is when NASCAR saw that, they probably thought it was pro-transgender because of the LGBT.
they probably did. But yeah, if you notice, there's Let's Go Brandon. You don't even see it on the car.
It's not on the car. Yeah. And even if it's not, the driver's name is Brandon.
Right.
Okay.
All of a sudden now we get to rename what your name means.
Yeah. I could see it if the driver's name was Earl, or something like that. Right. But the driver's actual name is Brandon. Okay. This whole trend started because his name is Brandon. Okay.
Right. Exactly. Anyway. Just the level of.
Here's what I know. Tell me, how do you get it, Craig? NASCAR should be spitting tobacco juice on the opponents of Let's Go Brandon, right? They should be throwing empty natural light beer cans, at cars they don't like when they go by. Mm-hmm. What's that? Is that a freaking Taurus there? Is that a Japanese car? Right? That's what NASCAR is. That's That's where NASCAR got its start. Yet they've chosen to go this opposite path of, you know what? We're going to turn away all of our regular fans for the other fans. Well, guess what, NASCAR?
because
There are no other
ultimately,
fans.
What it comes down to is this, and it has nothing to do with the fans, and it has everything to do with the corporate sponsors who are largely controlled and managed by the woke left corporate hacks who helped get Joe Biden elected, who are not interested in
Lost you again.
freedom, not interested in liberty. They're interested in profit and bottom line. And that's really why they're having issues. It's because of the corporate sponsorships. And, you know, Mike, that's one of the reasons why, and I've always said this, you know, there's a reason why I'm probably not doing, you know, there's a reason why I'm doing this show and I'm not on, like, you know, Fox News or MSNBC or something like that. Because let's be honest, I mean, we say what we believe and we get people to support us because they believe what we believe, as opposed to saying what the people with the money will pay us to say, if that makes sense. I think I lost him again. I think in honor of us losing Mikey, the one thing that I forgot to play today was the Taco Tuesday anthem. So I'm going to go ahead and play that real quick, and we'll see if we can get Mikey back in between that.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yum.
Yum, 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 yum. Gotta love it, gotta love it. Are you hearing me yet, Mikey? Okay, I don't think Mikey is hearing me again, so I'm going to keep fiddling around with this thing over here. Let's go ahead. Let's move on to our parting shot. Now,
here we go.
We talked a little bit earlier about Democrats, about people who are refusing to follow the science. And there is no one who has been more guilty of not following the science than our current commander-in-chief, if that's what you want to call him. This was an image that was actually a photo that was taken of him. Him and Jill Biden decided that they were going to go out and spend time, get some photos of themselves frolicking on a beach. And there they go. He's wearing a mask, him and Jill Biden, out on the beach. Now, mind you, everyone's far away from them. It's them alone with their dog on a beach. And yet he's outdoors wearing a mask. Now, Mike, we know that there's evidence that almost no one has ever caught COVID outdoors, let alone outdoors by themselves or outdoors by themselves with a dog.
Yeah, at the beach, in the wind, right? Even the dog is like, what is with this guy? What is with this guy? It's ridiculous.
This guy's an idiot.
Why is he wearing that mask? The dog thought that Joe was going to rob him. That's what was going on here. He thought, and then the dog took a poop, and Joe picked it up, and he thought, he just stole my poop. That guy's a poop thief.
He's a poop thief.
He can't wipe his own blood. He's got to wipe mine now too. What the heck? You know, so it's just absolutely ridiculous with this guy. Yeah, he's wearing the mask. You know why he's wearing the mask? Because he thinks it's still day one of the virus. He has no idea what's going on. He just does what they tell him to do, and he goes.
No idea. He is completely and utterly clueless.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, Mikey, how about a shout out to our sponsors before we cut out today?
Let's say hey to our good friends at Gorilla Machining, Grid Defense, and the California Republican Assembly, and remind you that on Monday, what is that? Monday the 17th, Craig? Monday the 17th at in Las Vegas at the Hofbrau House. You can come join us with the rundown. You come join the guys from Arms Room Radio and everybody that we know in our group and our friends, and come out there on the 17th, Monday the 17th at the Hofbrau House for a get-in free party, and come hang with us. And I believe the beverages will be on the house.
Folks, I'm telling you, it's going to be a fun time. We always have a good time. The Monday before shot is perfect because most people are just getting in that day. They haven't been worn out and run through the ringer of Vegas for 4 or 5 days yet.
Exactly right. It's the place to replace all of your blood with alcohol and get ready for the week. Yeah.
Some of y'all will be doing that.
I don't drink anymore, so it's okay.
Also wanted to remind you, hey, it's a new year. The legislative session in California is just now starting up. The California Republican Assembly is going to have a very aggressive grassroots legislative campaign. Make sure you're a member. Make sure you sign up. At least sign up to get their newsletters and email alerts so that you can know and have an opportunity to fight against bad legislation in the state of California. Because it's the state of California, you know they're going to be proposing it. So might as well take a few minutes and fight against it. On that note, we're going to call it a day. Please remember, like, share, subscribe. Remember, you can, if you just want to listen to us, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just look for The Rundown, 2A News and Conservative Views. Once again, make sure you subscribe and encourage your friends to do the same. Once again, I'm Craig DeLuz, going to be tuning out. My partner, Mikey P.
Mike Piworsky.
Oh, there he goes. Over there. Mike P. also tuning out. And we will see you tomorrow on Hump Day.